Hey guys, welcome to Dog Forge. My name's Paul, and a very hardy to you now that I've had an excuse to use that soundbite. So today we have nautical good, not nautical nice. So this was a request by Darth Willuth, I believe, who is starting a nautical campaign and wanted a build to help deal with that. So when we think nautical, we think ships, we think docks. If you can hear a dog in the background, I am very sorry. So we kind of want to think swim speed, breathing underwater, generally an increased mobility, because in that kind of dockyard ship environment, there's probably going to be a lot of things that you can climb, have to jump over, that kind of thing. So there was no real guidance for this besides just, take a nautical setting and come up with something. So we put our heads together and we essentially have like a bit of a stereotypical pirate to some degree, with a little bit of a Lovecraftian twist on it. Now, I did see right before I recorded this that the requester actually has a party role issue where they need a healer. Side topic on that, please don't feel anyone like you have to fill a particular party role. At the end of the day, you should play what you want to, not what you feel is missing. But if you wanted to change this up to fit more of a healing kind of thing, then you could just simply, when it comes to taking your warlock levels, just take Celestial Warlock and pick up healing that way. Otherwise, you could take the healer feat. Now, there's ways to slap on healing onto pretty much any build. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Should have said cracking. Missed pun opportunity. So, the highlights here, we're going to be able to swim without any checks and breathe underwater from level 1. We're going to have a high initiative count, and we're going to have pretty high resourceless damage. And that is the key. We're not going to be out damaging a paladin with their high burst damage, but the damage we're going to be doing as primarily a rogue is consistent, and it does not take resources on our part. We're going to be very mobile to get around those masts and around the docklands. We're also going to have pretty good stealth and recon potential, even though we're going to have mixed terrain of land, water and air. So your go-to strategy for this build is very simple. You're going to go forth, stabbeth, and after a little while stabbeth with a bit more of a dramatic flair. So we'll be using a rapier as soon as it's available to you. If you can't have one straight away, then a short sword. At level 1 you could even 2-weapon fight and go short sword and short sword, or short sword dagger, whatever you want. As it's only a damage die difference, you can, if it fits your theme better to be a pirate with a dagger between your teeth, then go for it. At the end of the day, it's 1 damage. So we're going to be relying on sneak attack primarily for our damage, and then level 6 onwards, Booming Blade is going to come into play. Unless you want to be stealthy, in which case don't do Booming Blade. Booming Blade will announce your presence for a very large area. I think it's like 300 feet or something. So at 20th level, our Nova damage... No, this is not really a Nova build. Our Nova damage comes out to being 65, and that's just Booming Blade and Hex. But the important thing there, it's not mind-blowing damage, but you can do that every round. You just keep hitting and hitting and hitting. And then if they move, well then that's bonus damage there, and as you can disengage from them automatically, as long as you're working with your teammates, you can force an enemy to move a lot more than you'd think. Mobility is really a very big strength of this particular build. Onto the race, we have Sea Elf. Now, this is purely to address the nautical concerns. Sea Elf is going to allow us to breathe underwater and swim straight away from level 1, as well as giving us Dex and Con. Dex is very useful for this build in particular, and Con's always good. So, being an elf, we're still going to get Trance, Fey ancestry, all that good stuff, dark vision. And just a quick note on the race options for this, if you wanted to go a little different, there is a sea elf ancestry for the half elf in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. That only gives you swim speed, not breathing, but it's an option. There's also the Triton, which gives you the ability to breathe underwater, swim, talk to animals, some basic casting. But I just felt Sea Elf just fit this better. One thing to remember when you are fighting underwater is that there is a set of underwater rules for combat that will impose disadvantage on you. Off the top of my head, I think just spears, short swords, that kind of thing should be fine because it's a piercing, not a slashing motion. Skills wise, we're going to go with athletics, perception, navigator's tools, and vehicles water proficiency. And that comes from being a sailor, and you have an optional variant of sailor for pirate. And then from rogue, we are going to get acrobatics, sleight of hand, stealth, persuasion, and thieves' tools. Now we do get perception from being an elf as well, but it's a bit redundant, unfortunately. Speak with your DM, maybe they'll let you change it out. It's always worth asking. Recommended spells, invocations, and expertise, because I can no longer recommend just one thing apparently. Acrobatics, being a nautical game, you really want to be able to swing from those ropes, just backflip off that mast, and really just navigate in a really cool parkoury way without failing epically. So expertise in acrobatics, same with stealth, you want to be a ghost on the waves. Thieves' tools, really just because it sucks to fail a lockpicking check. That's the crux of that. Persuasion, now, persuasion is good to have in general, especially if you're playing the face character. However, our panache ability does tie in with persuasion checks. So if you take expertise in persuasion the second time around, and these are kind of in recommended order. So your first two expertise, acrobatics and stealth, and then your second two, mix them up if you prefer. But persuasion, you don't really need that expertise until you get panache, and panache is a 9th level feature. Booming blade, our bread and butter for a little bit of extra damage when we get it available to us. Mage hand, just generally useful. Especially useful if you're on a mast and you want to swing down but there's no ropes. Immediately next to you, you can pull them closer. Hex, it's a nice damage boost. You can help out a teammate that's grappling an enemy, or if you get the drop, you can even give disadvantage on initiative. Armour of Agathis, temporary hit points, and as we will be ultimately casting at 2nd level everything, that's 10 of them, and some bonus damage. Misty Steps, because I don't really feel like I need to justify teleporting. It's cool and useful. Invisibility, because sometimes you don't want people to see you. And then for our invocation, Armour of Shadows, because it's better than light armour. And Voice of the Chainmaster, just because it really unlocks your familiar's scouting potential. Now, barreling on through to level progression. We'll be going 1 to 5 rogue, and our subclass will be Swashbuckler. So you can start off level 1 dual wielding, doesn't really matter, you haven't got anything else to use for your bonus action really anyway. Level 2, we're going to open up Cunning Action, which is going to maybe interfere with 2-weapon fighting if you went that route a little bit. On level 3, we're going to get 2d6, and we're going to get our subclass features. So now, as a Swashbuckler, we're going to be able to add our Charisma modifier to our initiative with Dex. If we attack an enemy, and this is really where 2-weapon fighting comes in handy. If you attack an enemy and you don't have to hit, you gain the benefit of the disengage action against them, similar to the mobile feat. And then we get another way to trigger sneak attack, which with the existing but additional conditions for sneak attack, it means that most of the time in melee we're going to be able to trigger it. And then coming on to level 4, we're going to get our first ASI. Because of the split that we went with, we're going to have an odd dex and an odd charisma. So just split that ASI down the middle and bring your dex up to 14 and your charisma to 16, and simultaneously raise your initiative by 2. Level 5 is going to be our last rogue level for a little bit. We're going to get 3d6 and we're going to get Uncanny Dodge. And really, Uncanny Dodge is the main reason I decided to push to 5 here. The third d6 is definitely helpful, but that defensive capability was just too hard to push up. Now, again, if you need to bring some healing into your party, at this point, when you take your first Warlock level, just go Celestial. You'll get Healing Light and Cure Wounds. But otherwise for this, we've gone Great Old One. The idea being that you're going to have that very Lovecraftian Cthulhu making a pact with the Demon of the Deeps kind of feel going on. So we're going to get Telepathy, we're going to get our Cantrips and our first spell slot. Level 7, we're going to get 2 first level spell slots, and that is per short rest, and we're going to get our Invocations. Now, as Voice of the Chainmaster isn't available to you yet, just take what invocation takes your fancy. If you find the encounters at this point have been a little difficult, then for this level just take the False Life Invocation, Fiendish Vigor. A bit of temporary hit points to help you get through. So level 8. Now, if you want, you can, when you pick your pact, go Pact of the Blade, get an improved pack weapon and all that. I've chosen Pact of the Chain just because being on a boat out at sea, I feel like the recon potential of the familiar is enhanced, especially since you can just change up your familiar ritually to an aquatic creature and have them swim into a stronghold maybe. And then we're going to get our second level slots. So Misty Step and Invisibility come online. Level 9, we're going to jump ship, so to speak, and head to the Rogue again. And that's really where we're going to finish off. We're going to get another 2 expertise, and that's pretty much it. We're going to hang it back to Rogue for level 10 and our 4th d6 of Sneak. We're also going to pick up Evasion, which is always useful. I mean, if you're a monk, if you're a ranger, you can pick up Evasion way later than this. Level 11, we're going to get our second ASI and max out our dex. This is a little late to be maxing out dex, 3 levels behind normal, but I feel as long as you hit +4 at level 4, you're not really falling that far behind. Level 12, and now you got yourself a little bit of panache, you know, that little something. Je ne sais quoi. Oh, whatever, brash, pirate language. We're also going to pick up 5d6 Sneak, and panache is going to really allow us to act as a tank drawing aggro. So I would recommend at this point maximizing your hit and run tactics. You know, roleplay some like slurs, get in there, give them a good smack, get that automatic disengage, and get out of there. Level 13, we're going to get another ASI. Seeing as we've maxed our decks, you can either bump Charisma Con or take a feat. So Elven Accuracy is great for this. And at this point, we are also going to get Booming Blade. It's now 2d8. Oh, it levels up. We already had it. So level 14, you didn't get this far by dumb luck at all. Unless you started at this level, in which case your DM has picked a very weird level for you to start. So now you're going to pick up Reliable Talent and a 6d6 Sneak. Level 15, another ASI. Because even when I don't do builds that multi-class into fighter, I still run into a million ASIs. So if you've maxed out your decks already, Concentration, if you're using Hexalot Con, would be useful, or maybe there's a feat that's taking your fancy. If you are struggling as a group with healing at this point, pick up the heal feat. Even at this level is still good. level 16 and we get 7d6 sneak. And now whenever we want, with a bonus action, we can get advantage on athletics and acrobatics that turn, which is normally a very mediocre ability, to be honest, but seeing as you're going to be in an environment where there's a lot of swinging and climbing, I think that's pretty good. And aquatic enemies, like tentacles, grappling, that kind of thing, you can help with that too. Level 17, and we're going to get a bit of blind sense, 10 feet of blind sense. Level 18, and we're going to get wisdom saving throw proficiency. And this is quite nice because the Slippery Mind does tie into the Cthulhu-ish aspect of this. You already have telepathy, so you can really roleplay this out. We're going to get 8d6 sneak, and at that point, every time you smack somebody with a sword or dagger, you're doing the same bonus damage as a fireball, which is, I mean, just think about that, really. Level 19, our final ASI, and just get lucky at this point, I guess. Why not? Level 20, and our capstone's actually not bad. We're going to get 9d6, and once per short rest, if we miss, we can try again with advantage. So if you weren't already hitting the requirements for sneak attack, now you are. So when panache becomes available to you, this is just some quick notes here. You might want to consider buffing your HP if you're actually going to be using it, because you are going to start drawing a lot more aggro as a D8 class. Uncanny Dodge will help a lot here, but you can only use that against one attack per turn. As for when you're not going to be able to engage in melee, I really recommend like going all out swashbuckling pirate and just have just a whole raft of hand crossbows tucked into your belt at various points, so you can just draw, shoot, drop, draw, shoot, drop. Crossbow expert feat if you want to, but either way, it just adds to the theme and it's useful. And that is it. So this was our little piratey attempt. We might do something similar again in the future with a little bit of a different take on it. Maybe next time we'll do more of a castery feel. But this was, I think, a pretty good pirate build. You're going to get to buckle some swashes, as Xanathar might say. Or swash and buckles. It was really unclear what the swashbucklers meant to do. But it's one of my favourite rogue subclasses, and I think if you give this build a go, you'll have pretty high chances of not dying, and you should have a nice little bit of fun on the high seas. So if you like this build, let us know down below. Give this video a like. If you would have done something differently, then please just pop a comment down below. If you've noticed something that's not quite right, if we've made any mistakes, let us know as well. Very open to that, and we want to make sure that the documents are amended so that nobody else is picking anything up that they shouldn't be. So, if you like this, why not hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, so you'll be notified of any of our future videos, and we will see you next time.